Let's talk creating confidence. So, speaking of creating confidence, in case you're tuning in for the first time, I'm Katrina Julia, and I confidently thought I would be filming this overview about a week ago. So I flew into London from Atlanta and then Washington, via Washington, and thought I would get to film it there because I was actually putting together the blog post while I was on the plane headed to London. So I felt like a rock star. I felt super confident that I was putting it together, and I had primed all my talking points and thought, boom, 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 I'll get it together. Hashtag first world problems. There's a plane flying over us right now. Speaking of confidence. So thought I would do that. No. It was super cold and rainy, so didn't really bode well to film outside. I didn't have kind of a place to pop up to film. I was staying in an Airbnb, and downstairs there wasn't an easy setup like this to just post my camera or my tripod up. And just in getting things ready for the transformation pop-up and mastermind that we actually hosted at WeWork in London, basically in a nutshell, a lot of things going on, right? So I thought, okay, cool, I'll film in Vienna because I'm headed to visit family there, and I'll post the blog, I'll have the video, it'll get done there. Well, I arrived, the weather was amazing. I just really like to film outdoors whenever I can. See, speaking of confidence, totally unedited, totally flowing, and showing you that I quote unquote do typos, blurbs, all kinds of things all the time. And so the second day ended up being really cold, plus I was visiting family. So I was spending a lot of time with my niece and nephew, Leo and Sophia, my brother and my sister-in-law, and you know, there wasn't really a great time. Not that there's ever a great time, but I just didn't feel like it warranted the pressure or forcing myself to film this intro into the blog and into kind of the overview of confidence during that time. Because I want to really be transparent with you guys that, you know, creating a life and business you love is never ever perfect. Not that corporate America ever was. But there's times where, you know, you might get tons of things done, and then there's times that there's not. And full disclaimer, while I was in Austria, so this is post the pop-up, while I was in Austria, my time clock was all over the place, and I was staying up till 2-3 a.m. working because I wanted to spend time with them during the day, and then in the evening it was like, okay, they're asleep now I can spend some time with my brother and sister-in-law and then get things done at night. So giving you a lot of background to kind of what led up to this video, and I'm going to be sharing on the next blog post, Jumpstarting Transformation, what actually happened, because you heard me reference what actually happened with our pop-ups in London. So cliffhanger, very intentional, kind of like a TV reality series, right? However, let's focus on this one. Now that you know the background, now that you know I am not always polished, I can be all over the place, hashtag I'm human, and just like you, go through fears, go through insecurities, go through not so perfect days. So that was part of my intention with this, is being super relatable and super human. Oh, there's a cat here, Max. My parents quasi-adopted him. He came when he was a kitten. So today's video is how to create confidence so you live a life and business you love. And this correlates to the blog and to the podcast, and in the video you're getting all this extra behind the scenes because I filmed it way past I thought. So let's talk confidence. Let's talk showing up even when you're terrified. Let's talk showing up and taking action even when you have zero clue how things are going to turn out. And let's be real, we never know how things are going to turn out. We think we do. We think we're in control, but we're not. So, part one, imagine it. You want to lose weight, you want to get healthier, you want to change your money situation, you want to change your life, write it down. I can't tell you how dramatically my life has changed just from the act and action of writing things down in a journal, reinforcing it in a planner, reinforcing it on my computer, reinforcing it on an app called Focus Matrix. Because what happens is your brain starts to get wired into focus, and into one step leads to another step, leads to another step, okay? So imagine it. So in the context of the pop-ups, I realized, you know, we've been doing these retreats, we've been doing things online with Fit Life Creation. How else can I reach more people in a more easier, connected, relatable way with marketing, as well as pop-ups that can also not only be free marketing-wise and do things live and show behind the scenes, but also lead to a paid path day or full day pop-up experience, collaborate, correspond with brands, and so much more, and show people the full, hands-on experiences in health, money, and business easily and effortlessly, okay? So that meant not only writing it down, but then into step 2, creating it. You guys, there's a lot of background noise here. I thought I'd be relatively quiet at this time, but clearly not. Again, confidence, keep going. There's dogs barking, there's a cat walking by, there's cars. Yeah, apparently, I don't know, he went crazy, the cat's still here, but the dog's still going crazy. So, back to business. Creating it. So, even though I imagined the pop-ups, right, and I started writing them down, creating it involved actually taking action. It involved taking the steps of thinking of an event space, reaching out to influencers, reaching out to people. On a leap of faith, I reached out to Wonder Woman in tech. Celia got involved. On a leap of faith, I reached out to Michelle Lowbridge, who I've read her books. I've also done energy editing with her and one of her students. So she got involved, okay? Those are just some of the steps. The place, I realized that through WeWork, I could set up a place. Now for Barcelona, I'm already changing it because I thought, like when we did our Costa Rica retreats or our Cuba retreats, I'm huge on creating a learning environment that's heavily stimulated. So that means not sitting in a conference room for 5, 10, 20 hours at a time. That means being outdoors and indoors. That means breaking up activities with fun. Because part of my history is, you guys, I've done a ton of education. And not just from a formal level, but from a corporate level, from a personal development standpoint, from a network marketing standpoint, all the above. So I've studied not only as a student, but also as a provider, what works, what stimulates, what doesn't. So I realized with London, for example, we created them at WeWork. So that was one of the outreach, setting up the spacing. The conference room space is great. But what I didn't know, because I couldn't tell this online, it was actually kind of dark downstairs in a basement. And it wasn't in an open space like at the kitchen or on couches that was super comfy. So it felt like a typical classroom. And I was like, this is not who I am. This is not what I want. So how do I kind of meet the workshop standard in the middle with technology, as well as recreate what we did in Costa Rica and in Cuba, and what we're gonna be doing in Brazil and Atlanta on a half-day experience. So I thought, okay, either, right, create it. So imagine it, create it. You see kind of part 1, part 2. I can either do WeWork again in Barcelona, and we can do it outside, easy, right? Or I could collaborate with a hotel. So I reached out to a couple hotels. So imagine it, create it. Or I could do what I did in Cuba and Costa Rica on a smaller scale, meaning rent the Airbnb, host in the Airbnb, and create the same kind of experience on a smaller basis. Because the pop-ups are designed not only for marketing and the transformation mastermind, but to lead to a 1-day or 2-day paid experience, depending on the time that I'm there. Like in Barcelona and London, that wasn't possible, but I'm still, because I didn't allow enough time. So now I'm creating more time for Atlanta, for Brazil in the future. And then it's also leading to testing that market for a future full week retreat and or future paid 1 days, right? So that's kind of where the London into the Barcelona is kind of in process now from the transformation mastermind pop-ups. And just to back up, even though I'm going to talk about this on the next vlog, just to back up and give you guys insight on what the pop-ups are, so it's relevant to this conversation, it's basically a half-day experience with hands-on health, hands-on money, hands-on business workshops to help people create a life and business you love. And so initially, from a flow standpoint, as of now, and this may change, we're doing it with influencers. They're featuring marketing before, during, and after, and giveaways. Then leading into a paid experience. We're doing this in Barcelona coming up next year. Oh, wait, we're doing this in Brazil coming up next year. This is coming up in Barcelona as a marketing pop-up. And then the trajectory is, of course, integrating through our digital platform all around with Fit Life creation, with our tools and lifestyle integrations, like Herbalife, like Kajabi, like so much more that help you with the hands-on and the implementation and execution of it all. So it's all of that, but then it's also testing for a future 1-week retreat. So that kind of gives you a 10,000 foot level into the purpose and the intention of all that. So imagine it, step 1, with creating confidence so you live a life and business you love, create it. And you guys, the reality is, I've traveled to over 27 countries, but I had not, other than week-long retreats, created 1-day pop-ups, or even could be when I created the retreats before. All kinds of stuff and insecurities and fears come up, but you keep going. You keep taking the next step and the next step and the next step and making a decision that, you know what? Yes, I feel this fear, but it will not get the best of me. I refuse it to get the best of me. I'm gonna keep going, okay? Then imagine it, create it, and then the last part is walk in it. So you guys, being an entrepreneur is not easy. Don't think by any stretch of the imagination because you see videos and content and freebies, it's easy. There's plenty of nights and times that you're terrified. There's plenty of times and nights you maybe don't feel worthy while you're making that transition mentally and spiritually. There's plenty of times where you're possibly living off debt. You're possibly getting help from family, which has definitely been the case with me. And it's incredibly humbling. It's incredibly humbling from a space of, you know, when I graduated, full disclaimer, when I graduated college, I set certain limits at certain lengths. And looking backward now, I realize I set them much lower than my potential. So that's kind of my challenge to you as you walk in it, right? And I did hit all those goals. I did get to 6 figures. I have had the opportunity to work in over 7 industries. And because there were a lot of skills and communication and fears of being seen and so much more as an entrepreneur that came up, there was a lot of things that I got to go back to foundation, to stability, and to growth. And revisiting a lot of things, or revisiting them from a completely different lens. Because, you know, getting to a level of an executive, of a chief audit executive, and working through 7 industries and having tons of results, to then going back to, in a way, you guys, in a lot of ways, like I was back in high school, back in undergrad, back in college. Like I feel like right now I'm in grad school. Like literally that's what it feels like on a number of levels. And I feel like a lot of great and amazing things are happening, and I feel like a lot of great and amazing things that are gonna blow my brain are coming, but don't think it's easy. So I give you that behind the scenes to lead into walk in it. So walking into London, I've been before, but walking into London with hosting pop-ups, with walking into London, meeting people I'd never met face to face that I was going to present with, was huge leaps of faith, coming from a past OCD control freak. I mean, before, if something would have been off, I would have gone haywire. Coming from someone that if something technologically didn't work before, I would have freaked out. And the beginning of our pop-up, you guys, just to give you some insight, the adapter for my Mac was not working. The HDMI was not working. We got started 30 minutes late. And I had over 7 people waiting. Years ago, I would have freaked out. I would have been huffing and puffing, but I walked into the experience, and more as I create confidence, and this is my message to you, so you live a life and business you love. It's imagining it, it's creating it, just like this video and all this background noise, and it's walking in it. It's having the intention that you're gonna deliver value, that you're gonna connect, create, and cultivate with community, and you're gonna do your best, and you're gonna have a great attitude. So through that all, I still had a great attitude. I had the intention to serve openly and abundantly with light and love. And however the rest of it unfolded, I was still gonna continue to walk in it, and knowing that it's perfectly imperfect, and to completely and utterly enjoy this moment and enjoy the journey. Because if you don't, what I learned in the past is you may get to the destination, but if you're not enjoying the journey along the way, the likelihood of enjoying the destination when you get there is slim to none. Because I missed a lot of pride, I missed a lot of gratitude, I missed a lot of fully feeling in the moment before. And that's why I'm so driven to do that now, no matter what. So, I hope this connected with you. I hope this helped you create confidence so you live a life and business you love. And I hope you continue to tune in to the blog, to the podcast, to the vlogs. They're gonna be coming a lot more now. I just got a Canon M100, I think. You see me over here looking. It's, it says Canon zoom lens, EFM 15 to 45 millimeter. It's an EOS. I think it was an M100. I'd have to look at the back. But anyway, I just got this before I left on my trip, because part of my value creation and my intention was to help connect and to want to connect with you guys more. So chat soon and have an amazing, amazing day.